Jesse. Sit. Good evening, everyone. Can I please have a motion and a second to reconvene the public meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence to honor our servicemen and women?
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Can I please get a motion and a second to accept the minutes of the November 14, 2023 meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. So this is a special meeting where we are recognizing some special people. So I will have Mr. Mallory come up and introduce the Fall County champions and New York State qualifiers.
That's it? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. This is always a special night for us to have a chance to reflect and summarize what was an amazing fall season, grades 7 through 12. We had close to 1,000 athletes participate between OBMS, Ronk, and Connecticut High School, and they had the chance to show their skills and their talents on the new OBMS fields. We had brought some rock fields back and our brand new turf on in the stadium at Connecticut High School. And I'd like to thank the board for seeing all those projects through, and thank John Allen to my left right here, who's so involved in making sure everything is done properly. So it was a great opportunity to show off our athletes as always, but on our new athletic facilities. We had 207 scholar athletes at Connecticut High School. That means they maintained a 90 average or better, and 10 out of 12 teams were scholar athlete teams. To be a scholar athlete team, you have to have 75% of the team have that 90 average. So we're very proud of what we did academically as well as athletically. In terms of being competitive, I know I'm a little redundant when I come up here each season, but we want to be academically, we want to do well academically, we want to compete, we want to show good sportsmanship for all our teams. So academically, as I just said, we were outstanding, and then we had 10 of 12 teams make the playoffs this year. Some school districts have one or two, some school districts may even have a state champion, but to be consistent across the board is something we're very, very proud of. Some highlights: girls gymnastics were league champions. Avery Melchiona will attend the States in the spring for the beam, and we'll honor her here at the spring meeting because hopefully she'll bring home a state championship or at least place. Girls swimming and diving is in the house tonight, in the room. They were undefeated league champions and tournament champions. So tremendous season for girls swimming and diving. Girls tennis was very exciting. They had the best season in Connecticut history. The league record was 7-1. They were overall, they were 9-2. They finished second in League Two. They were the 5th seed in the county, which is the highest that program has ever seen. Tremendous season for girls tennis. Girls and boys soccer advanced to the Final Four in the AAA playoffs. They play the most competitive division. The girls team won the County Sportsmanship Award and had 2 All-State players, which we'll hear about very soon. And finally, our girls country team they were league runner-up. They won 3 invitationals, and they had a special state qualifier who I'm going to ask Mike Austin, our girls cross country coach, to come up now and Coach Austin is going to tell you about Olivia.
Okay, so Olivia had by far, without a doubt, the best individual season in Cadet Quad history. I know some coaches have a tendency to, look through rose-colored glasses and things, so I figured I'd just make some bullet points to kind of let you guys make your decision on that. So Olivia was the top runner on our team by an average of 30 seconds per race. She was first team all-league. She was all-division. She qualified for the public school state championships. She did so well there, she qualified for the Federation Championships. Now, the Federation Championships are the best of the best. It's all the best public school, private school, colloquial schools, every school in the state, 4,000 plus runners, and she qualified for this championship. Did so well there, she ended up being all Federation, which means she was top 20 in the entire state of all comers. Now, on top of that, some other really impressive things that I think make it the best season of all time for Cadet Quad. She scored, she set 8 school records in 8 different courses, 8 consecutive meets. So every meet for 8 meets in a row, she set a school record at a different course. To further that, I want to talk about 2 of those records in particular. Manhattan College, she set that school record by over 10 seconds. The girl that she took that record from did it as a senior in high school and ran for 4 years at Columbia University. The other one she took from Kelly Ioka. Kelly Ioka is widely regarded as the best distance runner in Cadet Quad history. She ended up being a full scholarship athlete for 4 years and ended up qualifying for the NCAA championships. This is the quality of kid that we're talking she beat, and significantly beat, 10, 12, 15 seconds. So I don't know how you feel about this, but I definitely think that was by far the best individual season in Cadet Quad history. So congratulations, Olivia.
Amazing, great stuff.
Where's Olivia? You gonna come up? Certificates? At this time, I'd like to call up our head varsity swim and dive coach, Coach Chicalone.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for the board for having us here tonight. Mr. Mallory and all our administration, we thank you for all your support throughout the season. Coming to our events like our senior nights, it means more than you can possibly know. So we appreciate that and thank you. So as Mr. Mallory said, we were undefeated league champions, both tournament and in season. So very, very proud of the ladies for doing that. This year we had 15 girls receive all league honors. 3 girls were all county, 3 were all state, and 1 was all Long Island. And all Long Island is top 3 between Suffolk and Nassau County. So I'd like to introduce the 3 girls. Lara Booth-Lam, come on up. Amanda Tedesco, and Kelsey Creasure. We'll start with Kelsey. Kelsey's right here. She's one of our senior captains this year. In Kelsey has been actually on the varsity team since 7th grade, has qualified for counties since she was a 7th grader. She was a 3-time league champion, 2-time county champion. She represented Section 11 in Connecticut in the last 3 state meets. This year she placed 9th in the entire state, going to counties. She was all league, all county, all state, and Kelsey this year was all Long Island, where she was top 3 between Suffolk and Nassau County. And proud to say she'll continue her journey, swimming for a great Division I program at UNCW. So congratulations, Kelsey. Next, we have our senior captain, Lara. Lara, again, has been an outstanding performer for us, big point scorer in all our meets. She was a league champion. She holds currently the Suffolk County record for 6 dive meets to this date. So she broke it last year and still has it this year. So that's a great accomplishment in itself. She placed 3rd in county this year, and she placed 11th overall in this year's state meet. And she'll be, again, continuing her journey at Division I Towson. So very, very proud of her. And then we have little Amanda, an outstanding athlete. This year she was all league, all county, and all state, which means she was top 20 in the 50 freestyle this year in the entire state of New York. That being said, is a great accomplishment, and the best thing about Amanda, she's only in 8th grade. So, if you can see the smile on my face, I have it for the next 4 years, which is outstanding. To say that I am a proud coach would be an understatement. Not only are these ladies great swimmers and divers, but they are great teammates, and that to me is more important. I've been truly blessed to have the opportunity to work with these young ladies. I'd like to thank their parents for entrusting me in our program and me coaching. Sad to see our 2 seniors go, but very excited for the next chapter in their life. So, our 2023 varsity girls swimming and diving.
Congratulations, that's amazing.
So our last recognition has to do with 2 very special athletes who were named All-State in girls soccer. Before I do that, I want to thank everybody involved in making this such a successful season, starting with the Board of Education, our Superintendent, Dr. Senemo, who we've seen at literally every game. So we thank you for your support. I am fortunate as an athletic director to have a board that fully supports athletics in every way. This is my 5th year, and they still haven't said no to anything that's good for kids. It's pretty simple. So I really appreciate that. But more important than me being happy, you're making a lot of kids happy, and you see the results on the field. Just the participation numbers alone, not just the outstanding athletes, but so many kids being involved is just a great thing, and I appreciate the board's support. Our high school administration is always great. Mr. Moran and his staff, and Mr. Piumbo and Mr. Licata at the middle schools are always there to help us out when need be. Thank you to the chaperones, the teachers, the coaches, all the time and the effort that they put in for all their help and their support as well. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Renee, our trainer, Renee Marchuka, who just puts in countless hours to keep the kids safe and healthy. So they say it takes a village, and the village built a hell of a fall this season. Anyway, to finish up, so I'm very proud to stand up here, and I'm not as dynamic, I guess, as Coach Kavanaugh. But Coach Cav couldn't be here, nor could his two athletes. One has a very important practice, and the other has a photo shoot, I believe, at Newsday maybe. So they couldn't be here, but they wanted to thank the board and thank everybody for recognizing them. So Gianna Mazzovi had an outstanding soccer career beginning in her freshman year when she joined the girls varsity soccer team. Throughout her high school years, she demonstrated exceptional skill and leadership on the field, eventually earning the prestigious position of team captain. Giovanna played a pivotal role in the team's success, contributing significantly to virtually every major goal scored during the season. A remarkable performance and dedication to the sport were recognized with a well-deserved selection to the All-State soccer team. Looking ahead, Giovanna is set to continue her soccer journey at the collegiate level as she is committed to attending Division I Marist College in the fall. Her achievements and contributions to the sport highlight a promising future in soccer for this talented athlete. That's Giovanna Mazzovi. And Coach Cav's words about Kaylin Mallon. Kaylin Mallon has made a significant mark in her high school's career, achieving unprecedented success as a junior. She stands out as the first in school history to be selected to the All-State first team in back-to-back years. Kaylin's talent and versatility are evident, earning her a spot on the prestigious All-Long Island first team as well. Notably, she is recognized as an all-field player, showcasing her skills and commitment across various positions. Kaylin's selflessness is particularly commendable as she willingly transitioned to defense during crucial games, demonstrating a strong dedication to ensuring her team's success by taking on challenging matchups against the opponent's best players late in contests. Her achievements and team-oriented approach highlight her as a standout player with a promising future in soccer. Kaylin Mallon. Can I say she's committed to Kentucky? And she recently committed to Kentucky University, SEC, baby. Here we go. All right.
Thank you. I can take Giovanna's also, because I see her. Thank you. Yeah, can I take a picture holding my daughter? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mallory. Thank you to all the coaches and the athletes. Congratulations. Wonderful job. Our next recognition was a young man, Jonathan Pope. It was actually brought to the board's attention by Ms. Furno here. So we would like to recognize, actually, the young man is Ryan DePrima, but his mentor, Jonathan Pope. So.
And if I could add to that, as you may know, we have a Navy SEAL museum here in the local area, named after a local hero, fallen veteran, Lieutenant Michael Murphy. And Mr. Pope, one of our teachers, and young Mr. DePrima, one of our students, put together a beautiful work of art, a true beautiful work of art to donate to the museum. A real tearjerker in terms of how beautiful this is and what it meant to the Murphy family, the museum, representing, our Connecticut community and how much we value and remember all those in all the areas who serve and keep us free. This was really beautiful. I don't know if we have any images. Do we have any images of it? That'd be fabulous, so for the audience to see. And we certainly would like to recognize them, with a certificate. But why don't we just pause for a second so you could see some of these great images. I know I've said it multiple times, that I am the son of a combat veteran, and I'm here because my father came home. But a lot of people haven't. Throughout all the wars, we just recently had the anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Obviously, this district went incredibly robust with both 9/11 and Veterans Day. very patriotic community, and always respecting and honoring the service and sacrifice of our veterans. And Mr. Pope, it is an honor, sir. The way you represent, the educators in Connecticut, and Ryan, kudos to you. The young people in our district. We've honored some tonight. We continue to talk about them. The young people, 5,300 strong, continue to shine. And it's just, these are just examples of the great work of our staff, the fabulous young people in our district, and the incredible support from our parents, our community at large. It's just, it's why Connecticut shines. So thank you, and if you could come up, we'll give you a well-deserved recognition.
Side note on the project. Ryan was a student in my class last school year. This was done this school year during his study hall. So he took his time out of his day to come and work on this project outside of class. So I think that's
Events for us throughout the fall season. Two of the advisors are not here today, so they will be recognized at the next meeting, but I will let Dr. Senatmore take over for the other advisors.
Thank you very much. Again, as we talk about how our staff and students shine, as we go from our athletic teams to our various clubs and organizations, our student government. I've worked in several districts. The work of our student government, the students and the advisors is incredible. Going back to pep rally and homecoming, safe Halloween, seeing the constant roll-in of the children, and of course what's become this beautiful annual tradition with the winter spectacular. These organizations they bring people together. And I'll certainly speak more about some of the other clubs and activities when I give my update. But I really want to just extend on behalf of the district to Sal and Jen Piscatelli, just our heartfelt appreciation for all the hours that you put in and the great work you do with our kids. And our kids are fabulous, but it helps when the adults, and certainly our parents who are supporting at home can help lead the way. And these activities, the community looks forward to. It helps bring the community together. And it's just yet another example of why Connecticut is a very special place. So thank you both very much for all these wonderful activities and the work that you do. And if you could please come up and be recognized.
you for everything you guys do. Thank you for everything you do. He was like, I wanted you to say.
Oh, no, that was.
I was begging
Well, that was fun. It's always good to get the meeting started like that. Student government. Do we have student government in the house?
Hello. Hello. So we recently had our winter spectacular on Friday. We had about 350 cars. Big turnout for our community and always is. I believe it's our 4th annual one and we are definitely continuing it. So it was a good fundraising night for us. Soon we have Spirit Week coming up and a couple of the days are Flannel, Polar Express, Candy Cane Day, which is red and white, and Ugly Sweater, which I'm definitely looking forward to. And today we recently helped the athletic council host a Pie to Teacher today, and I believe Mr. Mallory was one of them, so champ for that. And everyone truly enjoyed that, so we have more things coming up and can't wait. Thank you.
I'm just going to add one thing, if that's okay with you, Reb.
yours,
Thank you. They're very territorial. It's okay. I just wanted to, the Winter Spectacular, all our events, I know you say it takes a village, and I have to let you understand, I mean, we drive John Allen crazy, so everybody knows that when it comes to our events. He hates when he hears student government is involved in something, because buildings and grounds, we have to thank buildings and grounds for everything they do, custodial staff, I mean, everybody, the teachers, you guys, I mean, so I just want to say one thing, truly, thank you for everything, because without those guys, believe me, buildings and grounds is out there doing those lights for us on their own, in their time, and they're out there helping us and cleaning up and waiting. Custodial, the mess that we leave for Safe Halloween, the kids clean up as much as they can, but again, the staff does a wonderful job, and thank you to the parents and everybody for allowing us to work with your children, and for whoever can come down. You were there as well, sorry. He came down and helped us out, so thank you again so much for everybody, so thank you all.
Thank you so much. Ava, can you just click that off? Sorry. No, that's okay.
See, I don't know that part, she knows it.
Thank you. And thanks for all you do. Superintendent update, Dr. Centimore.
It's always my proud papa moment. So certainly congratulations to all of our students and staff who have been recognized tonight. Keep up the outstanding work. It's been a few weeks since we all gathered, and so I hope everyone had a wonderful, very filling Thanksgiving. It's always one of my favorite holidays. We're obviously into the holiday season. I hope it's gotten off to a nice start for everyone. Happy Hanukkah. And it's just a fabulous time of year. We had an opportunity to acknowledge the great work of our student government before and all their activities. But over the last several weeks, I also had the opportunity to experience freshman awareness, and we will be acknowledging those advisors in January. It was my first freshman awareness, so I kind of felt like a freshman myself. And I have to tell you, I know it's looked at as a rite of passage, but it was really a life-changing event for me. And again, it just solidified that we have the best kids on the planet. Maybe I'm getting a little biased, as the months go on. An amazing event, and I appreciate the advisors. I appreciate the chaperones, the volunteers, PTA. It was just an amazing event, another hallmark component. Thanks to the administration, certainly, another hallmark moment for the Connecticut community, which is outstanding. We had a beautiful dedication and the naming of the OBMS auditorium in honor of the former District Director for Music and Arts, John Michael Lasher. So I want to thank the Board of Education for allowing that to happen, and Mr. Vin Malafronte, our current Director for Music and Art, Mr. Piambo, the principal, and everyone involved with that dedication. And then what was really beautiful and extra special was Mr. Lasher's family was there. His son spoke so eloquently. just a magical moment and an opportunity to honor a great person who impacted a lot of lives, students and adults in this community. So some other things, I've been asked to give some updates on some various components. The district is actively hiring support staff, and we're certainly making really good strides in a lot of areas, but we could certainly use more food service workers, bus drivers, bus aides, teacher aides. So, we're doing a full court press with those efforts. And of course, if you know people who want to come work for the best school district on the planet and the best community, please encourage them, to reach out to our personnel department. Recently, we reached out to the community and a lot of the grades between 6 through 12 to look at a prevention needs survey that was organized through our district's very robust mental health advisory council. It was an opt-in survey, and we didn't get the numbers to run with it. But it was important that parents had the opportunity to fully vet it and have these conversations and make informed decisions. But I know there might have been some concern in the community that because maybe the survey didn't happen, that would hinder the district's efforts. Our student service department under Ms. Pisani have done yeoman's work in the area of mental health and wellness for our students. Again, that the advisory committee that I just referenced, cross-represented committee, we're constantly looking at ways to continue to meet the health and wellness needs of our students. So I don't want anyone to be concerned. This district really does great work, and it's an area of priority and focus for us. I was also asked some questions about what do we do in terms of SAT prep. We've had students taking SATs. We do have SAT prep courses in ELA and math for our students, grades 10 through 12. And additionally, over the past 2 summers, we've used federal grant money to offer SAT prep coursework in August through Scope Education Services, and that was free of charge. So there is, a lot of work done there. Recently, our district, as part of most districts across the country, have been participating in what's called the Hour of Code. And our students of all ages, I pushed into the elementary classroom recently. It's incredible what they do in terms of coding. And so this is a great event, and kudos to our staff and our students who've been involved with that. I'd like to thank the Transportation Department, Mr. Hauser, for their work, and as well as the Transportation Safety Committee with input from our community for implementing the change with our second grade drop-off protocols. And that's now, I think, in its second week in effect. And I know a lot of communication went out, and there was a lot of legwork involved. So thank you for that. Talking about pushing into elementary classrooms, our high school students, whether there are athletes, our honor societies, our high school students are constantly around the district pushing into the elementary schools. It's just amazing the amount of student-to-student mentoring and teaching I see taking place. And again, we have the best staff, but when you have older kids coming in to work with younger kids, they're like rock stars to them, and it's so impactful. And they really are tremendous ambassadors. Speaking of ambassadors, our high school just recently hosted Unity Day, hosted 8 other schools. And again, it's a celebration of the diversity of both our community and our Long Island community. And to see students from multiple schools come together and work together, again, was great. I appreciate all the work done by our advisors, and we were certainly very gracious hosts, and it was a beautiful event. The holiday concert season is in full effect, and wow, are they putting on shows around the district. And don't worry if you haven't had a chance to go to some yet, there's more this week. And into next week, our music program is outstanding. Our student performers, orchestra, chorus, the choirs, just really, really amazing job they're doing. Our marching band just recently went to Philadelphia for the day, and they participated in the Philadelphia Holiday Parade. And that was just incredible. Right after Christmas, but right before New Year's, our Ronkonkoma Middle School Soul Singers, they're going to be the opening act for the Rockettes at Radio City Music Hall. You just can't make this up. It's just incredible. And I know you can get tickets for that. It's on December 30th. Just kudos to the 30th? Yeah. Just so very, very proud. But listen, the new year then will be upon us, 2024. And we're going to hit the ground running. We have a high school curriculum fair. We have academic presentations, elementary and secondary level, at the January board meetings. We have more showcasing of our performing arts. And the PTA, as we get a little bit more into the winter, they're organizing this really cool Harlem Wizards event with our staff. So we certainly support their efforts and very excited for that. So
And maybe even see you. Maybe even see you in a special light at the Harlem Wizards.
I know I just pulled a muscle taking pictures up here, and so I
suggest everyone gets tickets for this one.
Yes, I'm going to be working with trainers right from New Year's Day on. So it'd be great if you could support that event and all of our staff who will be participating in it. Wishing everyone a very happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a healthy, happy New Year. Happy holidays, Connecticut.
Thank you, Dr. Centimore. Moving on to Board of Ed topics, we have the Budget Advisory Committee, Ms. Inatelli and Ms. Napolitano-Ferno.
So years ago, we had a budgetary advisory committee. And since COVID, we have not had anybody actually attending budget meetings. And from what I heard, we haven't had any budget meetings. So I asked as a district if we wanted to start having the committee again so that community members, the board, and the administrators could all be collaborative together on our budget. I reached out to the PTA council to see if the PTAs were interested in starting that back up, because we used to get 2 representatives from each PTA. The president of the PTA council has told me they are very interested and would like to know when the meetings will start. So I am definitely for some type of budget committee. When I first came on the board, the first meeting, they asked which committees we all want to be on, and then the district clerk announced that we all were on the budget advisory committee. So I definitely want a committee. I want dates. I do want to join. Obviously, it can be up to discussion about the community, but I am for the community being involved in our budget.
Okay, so my take is a little different with a little more experience of what went on in prior years. I reached out to Ed. I reached out to Eileen Panico. I reached out to Mylene Orgelis. They all said that they had no issue. I reached out to Ray. I reached out to a bunch of prior board members because I recall when I used to come to board meetings and this was going on, that what happened, and I actually spoke to some of our employees that were very much involved for many years as SEPTA presidents and PTA presidents. Everyone gave me the exact same information, and they told me, and like, well, I would be for having people involved. The problem was they set up the meetings and people said they were going to show up, and then it turned out to be 2 or 3 or 5 people. Those 5 people or 10 people would work so hard, come up with things, and then those recommendations were never even entertained, because the reality is you have people work hard on something like that, and then they're not recommendations were never taken. So the problem too is it started out as all these people want to be involved. And then what happens is it withers down by the 3rd meeting to almost nobody, to the core people who really wanted it, who are like 5 to 10 people max. So, and that's what went on. That is the history of it. If you look into it, that was where the issues are. And I have no issue with saying, hey, let's try it again. But just understand you're going to have the same thing. You're going to ask our assistant supers to be involved in something where we're going to have 3, 4, 5 people, and those 3, 4, 5 people are going to bring stuff, and they're going to say, hey, I have these recommendations. If things are brought forward, how are we going to take those recommendations? Is the board going to go, oh, thank you for your recommendations and for working around the clock? Ed, thank you for working around the clock. But hey, never see any change, because that's not working together. That's just being somebody who's saying, oh, you know what, let's just appease everyone. Let's make a committee and appease everyone and make them believe they're part of something, and then at the end, we're gonna do what we want anyway.
Well, I realistically believe as a board, we owe it to the community to let them be involved. We need to be collaborative. We need to not just think it's a silo. So I agree with you, and I've been on obviously many committees, and it starts out as, you like you said, 20, 10, 2. But no matter where it ends, the people who are there in the end are the ones who want to be there and should be heard. So I definitely think we need to
I don't
create the committee.
like I said, I don't agree. I think that I agree with having a budget committee, but I think it's more because we are now a board of 5 people who have no budget experience. Our budget experience is me being on the board for 4
Don't
years.
speak for everybody else. You
No,
can
well,
speak for
well,
yourself.
I can speak for you, because if you
Oh,
can't file
actually, you
taxes,
can.
then you definitely aren't somebody I'm gonna think
This
is
is
gonna
not
make
board
sure that.
business, not board
it's-
business.
Like I said, you're not someone, in my opinion, that I'm going to take your recommendation. If you didn't file taxes when you did PTA work, you're certainly not gonna be somebody
Let's
that
just
I.
stick to the
think
topic at hand. We're-
I'm giving
we're-
my
we're just-
reasoning.
yes,
I'm
we're just
giving
gonna
my
stick to the
reasoning.
topic.
And like I said, she wants to take away from people who actually had budget experience on the board. You can't take away experience and say you're an accountant. You're not an accountant. We had accountants on the board. Accountants were able to check and balance. Accountants asked Bob
This
questions.
is why
You're
we need
asking
all the
Bob-
community, so
You're
everyone is
asking Bob
involved.
questions constantly through emails. That is against open meetings law. You violate open meetings law because you
I
don't
don't
want to
agree
ask
with
those
you.
questions in public.
Because some of the questions don't need to be. It's a question
no, it
that I
does.
personally
You're
have.
asking
And if it's
about-
needed to be asked in public,
Okay,
I will.
Why, you're asking about overtime for a certain unit that you have an
Not a
axe to
certain
grind
unit,
with.
all, I asked
We are getting way off topic.
overtime.
Okay, well, it seems
Let's
like
stick to
that
the
same
budget
unit you've
advisory
attacked
committee.
over and over.
Please, ladies, let's just stick to a budget advisory committee. I think that it's worth another try, at least, to at least give it another shot and to see how it goes. Who knows, maybe this time we'll have people with more of a budgetary background that join the committee and something more meaningful comes out of it.
I just think that we need to be realist and put expectations on it. So if you're gonna make a committee, then there should be expectations of people being there. Expectations that if people take time away from their children and families, that we should actually not just entertain their recommendations, but take their recommendations under advisement and actually look into them.
I would
It's
think that's
great
every
to-
committee we have.
No, that's not how our committees run. And to be perfectly honest, I've been on the board 5 years. I don't even recall you being at committee meetings. But hey, you say you were, so I don't know. I never seen you there. Never seen you at board meetings until you ran.
I'm done with this topic, Marisol, but I do believe we need a committee, so.
Yes, I agree that it would be worth looking into for sure.
Me too. You know why? I'm
Just
gonna
because it
actually
failed in
let
the
the
past doesn't mean it won't
prior,
work.
I'm gonna let the prior board members that had accounting information know because they live in this community.
Yes,
And
and
I
maybe they
think
can
they
join
should
the
because
committee.
this board has no experience.
And they
in
would
it.
be welcome. in the
Yes.
community.
Absolutely.
Okay, so like I said, if it.
All right,
has
thank
failed
you.
once
So
before-
Jesse, if we can look into looking into this committee. Freshman awareness, Ms. Napolitano Farno.
They're not all me. It's the wrong Jackie. It's still just
Me.
Oh, Jackie DiLorenzo, sorry.
No, that's okay. Freshman awareness is my second year volunteering to help out, and it was once again a phenomenal event. And I know Dr. Senamore spoke about it, and he's right. It was really, it's incredible, not just for the students, but even for us. And it's so enjoyable to see these kids come together. And they're one. They're like one person. They're all doing all the events. The speakers were incredible. The Connect What Strong Award was given to 2 amazing people. What an honor. And it was just a fantastic event, and the advisors do such an incredible job. That is a large group of children to handle at one shot, and what an amazing job that they do. And it's a pleasure working with them and working with the PTA that I was there with. I did not stay overnight. I stayed as long as I could. Paid for it anyway because I had no voice for about 2 weeks. But it was an amazing event. So I know we're recognizing them. We were supposed to recognize those 2 advisors tonight, and they couldn't be here. I definitely look forward to recognizing them at the next meeting. Thank you to everybody that was involved with that, the student helpers. Everybody was just incredible. Amazing event, once again.
I want to add to that. I did stay overnight for the first time in the last 5 years that I've done it. But for those who know that, they'll know I was keeping security company. Security was amazing. They were they were amazing. Thank you, Adam and Don. Please let them know. They were, every kid, every little thing, they were right there. Our custodians, they were incredible. Bringing out food at 1 o'clock in the morning, bringing out drinks for the kids, making sure that kids who were hungry, made sure that everybody ate. Thank you to all of the chaperones. Thank you to admin that stayed and that took care of a lot of things. Thank you to our incredible 2 advisors. Most people don't realize, I know, April, you had asked about, in an email about freshman awareness versus like pep rally and homecoming. And I have to tell you the difference so you understand with the budget lines. Freshman awareness is actually a curriculum-based event. That's why it is funded under its own budget line, and the board had to do that years ago in order to maintain it and able to make sure we get the food for the kids, make sure we get the shirt. It's an actual curriculum program. It's wonderful. The mental health that's included in it, the life lessons that they learn.
The speakers that come.
Amazing. It's amazing. It is, but I don't think many people understand the difference between that being a curriculum-based event versus a homecoming dance, which is a fun event, but it's run by a club. So the club has to raise money, and they use money through that. Through something like Freshman Awareness, it's an actual budget line. Freshman Awareness years ago wasn't as big as it is today, and I give credit to Michelle Goodwin and to Gina Senft, 2 incredible teachers who I have noticed in the last 5 years step up any time we need them to. Anytime we need them to jump in and be a chaperone, jump in and do this, they are incredible. The only thing I will say, if they're listening tonight, is don't ever be Miss Goodwin's, right hand. I've done it for 2 years, and everybody in staff and the kids all were laughing because she definitely gives me a run for my money. The way these advisors run around at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, and they're just barking orders to me. I'm like, oh my God, everybody slow down. But the kids in the hallway doing the fuzzies, it just is beautiful. And again, thank you to everyone who helped, whether it be staff, the chaperones who stepped up, they were amazing. Thank you to, like I said, the custodian staff that cleaned up. I mean, we were making a little bit of a mess during the dance party. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Like I said, security made sure the kids were secure and safe. Every time I stayed in the hallway and I walked kids to the bathroom, they were right there. Jackie, you guys need anything? What do the kids need? I'm right here. And the custodians need drinks, just incredible. So thank you, really. I absolutely love Freshman Awareness.
Couldn't tell. But yes, Freshman Awareness is a great event, and seeing the smiles on the kids' faces is awesome.
One more thing.
Okay.
And your girls, both of your girls beat us. It was an embarrassment, Dr. Sensimore. We got beat by the kids. The adults got beat by just a couple of kids, but it was, they wanted to do tug of war, and we let all the kids do tug of war, and we clapped, and then the kids said, no, you guys go up there. I'm like, this will be easy. Come on, Dr. Sensimore. And so embarrassed. I'm never doing the tug of war again. They were tough.
But yet, come watch me play basketball against the Harlem Wizards in 2 months.
They were strong.
Tough kids.
Your kids were strong.
Length of Board of Ed discussions, Ms. Iannatelli.
So many community members have reached out to me about the time that we take during board discussion. They wanted to know if it could be limited, since they only have 3 minutes. They would like us to only have 3 minutes. It also, they have said that they turn on the meeting. 30 minutes later, we're still on the same topic when they come back. I can't remember everything that everybody wrote to me, but it was just numerous people. So I figured I'd take the opportunity to let you know that there is no limit on the time that board members can speak. That board discussion is here to let the community know what is going on in the district, business-wise, social-wise, any aspect of school business. Go ahead, Jax.
No, go ahead. Finish.
No, I just wanted to let
Okay,
them. Go ahead.
so I had written back to April in an email for transparency that there is another bit of history. This Board of Education topics only started a few years ago when our awesome district clerk, Jesse, made it a little bit more organized for us, for people like me, actually, who wanted to put a lot of things on and had a piece of paper a mile long, and we're gonna go bullets at a time. And instead we made it where it was just more organized. But the reality is, when I first got on the board, I would come in and people would have a piece of paper with what they were gonna talk about. And after whoever spoke, after student government, we would have board discussions. The board meeting is technically the board's meeting in public, as if almost there's a piece of glass in front of us. That's how it was explained to me by older board members. And we're supposed to be doing our business as if it's like normal, like you're not really here. You're here listening, but technically we are supposed to be talking amongst ourselves, which we don't. The reality is, if you read our emails and then you saw this, like Brian had said to me at one point, it is totally different. So the reality is, this is supposed to be, a lot of things we talk about, whether it be an email, whether it even be an executive, technically is public conversation. There are questions that maybe the community wants answers to. We're allowed to bring up as much as we want because the meeting is supposed to be us bringing it to the superintendent, us bringing it to his cabinet through him to get the answers. If we don't do that, then what is the purpose of having board discussions? We just come to the meeting and we just rubber stamp everything. We just yes, everything to death. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be questioning. And if a community member comes to us and says, hey, Jackie, I have an issue. Hey, April, I have an issue. We should let the community know. So thank you for bringing this forward, because we should let them know. And I firmly believe it's not a huge percentage of people, because every topic I bring up, it means somebody came to me and asked me a question. And a lot of them I don't even bring up, because if I brought up all of them, we'd be here all night into tomorrow.
Thank you. CTA emails, Ms. Napolitano-Furno.
So I have been the recipient of many, many CTA president emails. It's not so much the CTA, because I don't want to speak about a whole union, because that's not right, because it's not them. It is actually the CTA president who continues to send emails to the school board, specifically looking to, either browbeat a board member because they won't bend the knee to him, and that would be me, or he's looking to pierce the cap. So for full transparency, we received an email, and the email is stating that we don't have enough mental health people in our district. And it seems a little strange to me, because in the last 5 years that I've been sitting on this side, I have seen a rapid decline of enrollment in this district, rapid. And if you look, we did a projection last year, and it's rapidly going to the point that they were talking about closing a school in 5 years. That it was something that was entertained in here is your numbers in 5 years. If you don't get younger families to move in, there's not more children coming in, or children go to private schools, or whatever the case may be. And we're being questioned about mental health services and staff, when we have the most mental health staff that we have ever had at Connecticut, with over 100 students, I was told today, over 100 staff members. Over 100 staff members, but where we do many initiatives. So I went online and I looked at the website. There is more initiatives. Bravo to the director of mental health, because there is so many more resources between webinars. You can watch little short videos. You can find things out about drugs and alcohol, about suicide. There are so many that we have a drug and alcohol task force that I'm on and April's on. We have a mental health committee that Jackie and Marisol are on. I mean, so this email is really not anything but him wanting us to pierce the cap, to raise the cap for mental health services. No, you want us to raise the cap because you want us to raise the cap, so in the future there's more room for money to be moved around. The problem with that is you're putting it on the taxpayers' back. I am so strongly against this, so strongly against this. You can be for mental health and take the 100 staff members we have and use them effectively and efficiently. Look into initiatives, look into stipends if you choose, before you start talking about piercing a cap, raising the cap, or anything else. Now,
But Jackie, I took his email a little differently. first, it was actually addressed to me, the email, but it was to all of us, I guess.
It's the entire board. He can't send an email, Marisol, that just goes to the board president. It's the board
No, I
president on
understand
behalf of the
that,
whole
which
board.
is why nobody responded to the email, and we are discussing it now. But with the way I understood his email, he was actually praising the mental health initiatives that we have brought forth in the community and in our district.
Was he
And
praising-
he was just asking that perhaps we form another committee.
Well, do we want to read it? Let's read it.
I actually have it right here.
So do
I.
And I could
We
say
can read
what
it,
he actually said
Let's
was,
also read the Suffolk County Police one that he sent.
as far as the
Because
mental
you
health
remember that
staff.
one, right? Was he praising me in the Suffolk County Police one?
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember the one where he brought up Police
I have that
Officer
one
Paul
too.
Thaler. He brought up Police Officer Paul Thaler, who is an exceptional human being, who he wanted to try to use against me, but didn't realize that his cousin, first cousin, is my partner at work for the last 10 years. Mike Thaler.
Before we read the emails, I just want to verify with Doug that we can read them in public.
The email is about me. I'd like it read.
I wouldn't say it's about you, it's about the mental health and the.
No, the police one is about me.
I just want to just cite one, at
It's
least one
funny you
part
don't
of
remember
this.
it.
But
You read it, right?
But before you do, I want to make sure that we can read it.
It only references me, and he likes to browbeat me about supposedly misrepresentation of me supporting the police and facilitating more of a police, encouraging more of a police presence in our school district, stating that I
Actually,
didn't do that.
I do remember that email.
Oh, you remember it?
I do.
Oh, okay, Marisol, thank you.
The answer to the question is you may read them. They'd be documents that would otherwise be available under FOIL.
I would love to read it because the one about me is entertaining for the community to see what we deal with.
I want
So,
to,
Miss, if you have it. if you
yeah, I do have it, and, the part that I want to cite is about the cap. He absolutely is looking to pierce the cap, and he states in here, the 2% tax cap is a huge deterrent to being able to hire more support staff. So, we have a tremendous staff, an incredible staff. They do, I'm on the Mental Health Advisory Council for the second year in a row. And to say that the cap is a deterrent to hiring more, this is his desire to pierce the tax cap, as you said, just to give him more room so that he can have a little more wiggle room to use the taxpayers' money. That's that one part in there.
It also
What I'm
feels
going to
like,
say is that just because we don't agree with one part of the email, when I read this, I also took it differently too. I didn't agree with the cap, and nor would I ever initiate that. But I do agree that he's willing to, as he writes, they're willing to help put together the task force and work on this to confront the issue now. We have a new superintendent, and even though we have a past history with the president of the CTA, I think this is our opportunity to work collaboratively with the Teachers Association and the board to work together for the children. Free things in our board we get every month. It says mindfulness programs. What does data say? These are free things that we can do in
and you could
school.
thank us. We
Free.
actually approved those be brought in. Since I've been on the board, I have never not approved a mental health anything. I have nonstop brought in and said yes to everything. I have advocated constantly, but I'm seeing through what you don't want to.
Right, because I'm
And
trying
that's
to
because
think positively.
All right, so then I will be positive.
What I would
How
like
about
to
we
know
do
is
it-
why is he not on the Mental Health Advisory Council if he cares so
Well,
much
I'm
about
wondering
mental
if he
health?
knows that exists. That's what I was going to
And
say. That we
I'm sure he
should have
knows
this-
it exists.
And
I'm sure he knows it
I mean,
exists.
he's been in this district many years. I have to say, April, I appreciate what you're saying, but let's be honest here. Did the email where he ripped me for misrepresenting being a cop? Do you think that was a good email, right?
That was a personal issue, but I'm.
What's a personal issue?
That has
April?
nothing to do with
I don't
children.
even
It has to
talk
do
to
with
the man.
you, and I'm going to talk about the kids.
No, but it's sent to our professional email. It's sent to our professional email,
Again, I don't
and
want-
it's stating
I don't
about
care
our
about
school
personal
district and the
issues.
police department.
I don't care about personal issues.
Can we just, one at a time, speak just one at a time?
Well, like I said, I would entertain this after May, because something tells me, and I might be wrong, but that the CTA president, and I wish he was here because I would love to ask him personally, if he's doing this all because he wants it to look like our district is in a crisis like it's never been in before. And in May, he is going to fix that crisis. Well, I can tell you we're not in crisis. You know why I know we're not in crisis? Because we have over 100 staff members with mental health background who are working. If we're in such a crisis, we already brought in last year, again, thanks to the old board, the PM Pediatrics for the mental health crisis. How much more should we spend on a mental health crisis is my question.
Jackie, one of the things that he suggests is reaching out to our state legislators at the federal and state level to represent Connecticut and do more to fight for funding for our schools.
He did not need to bring in the fact that he believes the 2% tax cap is a
what I'm saying is that
if he wants to advocate for extra funding, then by all means, advocate for it. Why put that on the taxpayers? Why even make that sentence?
He's a union.
Why even add that to
You
it?
want to know what's so great is
We're making
I'm
this
part of a
personal.
union.
We're making this personal.
I'm part of a
It's
union.
not personal. We're being
As a
fiscally responsible
union,
to our taxpayers.
One at a time,
Union leadership, he can absolutely, and just so you all know, he has written to Hochul during the I don't want to send my children back to school. Do you remember that? Here, I have it actually. In 2020. In 2020 of September, we received an email from said CTA president for someone he said that as far as he was concerned, he didn't want children going back to school because he didn't want staff going back to school, and he didn't want us to, if they weren't wearing masks, he wanted us to do Zoom.
But Jackie, I think we're getting off topic now.
Excuse me, I'm finishing so that it's all relevant. March of 2020, right? March of 2020, when this all went down, he would not allow his union members to actually go to do Zoom. He didn't allow that. I don't know if you remember. I don't think you were on the board yet. So he didn't allow it. But then all of a sudden, when the state said that everyone's going back, now he was going to allow Zoom. So let's all be very clear. He wrote many emails. I can easily find them for you because I have them. That he sent to legislators, he sent to Hochul, he sent to many others. As a union leader, you absolutely have the status to be able to send a letter to a legislator. So can we, and I have no issue with that. But what I'm saying is, let's not pretend there's not, that this is not a crisis like we're not taking care of it. There's 100 staff members. There's less students than we've had in Connecticut in the last decade. But yet we have more staff for mental health than we've had in a decade. Mental health crisis, sure. What is the agenda behind the email? I know you don't want to see it because I understand a lot of people, his endorsement is worth a lot. A lot of people want his endorsement. I thankfully don't. So I can tell you the truth. And the truth is, a 2% tax cap, this community should know that the CTA president is fighting for a 2% tax cap, Pierce. And I'm telling you, as far as I'm sitting here, as long as I'm sitting here, I will be fighting against that. We are not piercing the cap when there are other ways to look at the budget, go line by line, and see where we can move money. We have less students.
If we have a task force and you come together, I think we can find free ways, not to have to do any budgetary things, to make it better. These simple things that data already showed help students. I think we can take the negative and the positive, forget the negative, take the positive, and work together towards something that's good for the students of the school district.
April, you and I agreed, I think maybe once, but it was over when I said there are free services rather than paying for speakers. We were paying for a speaker for something, and we opted not to. And I said, and that was for mental health. And I said, why are we paying for mental health? I was the one who said it. I said, why are we paying for a mental health speaker when you can bring in the police department? You can bring in a mental health specialist that does this on the side. You can bring in, I know alumni who graduated from this district who are psychologists, sociologists, and guidance
So
counselors.
we're all in
and
agreement
mental
that
health.
it would be good to work together for these greater goods and the free things that people can bring to the district to get better ideas. It sounds like we're all in agreement with
I
that.
think that we need to give transparency to our community to know what the CTA president is doing behind the scenes with our emails. I would love to read the second one. Can you read the second one? Because for somebody who says that they don't have an issue, they certainly loved to read that one.
Going back to board length of meetings, we've said the same thing over and over 6 times. I think the point has been made, so let's move on.
Well, I just need to, Brian. We got an email that says
that
misleading.
I got 50 emails. today from you
Misleading
guys.
statements.
50.
So what I don't understand is if we're going to keep on writing after watching a small portion of the meeting from Tuesday night, honestly, very hard to watch, the association needs to clarify misleading statements made by Miss Napolitano Ferno. I'm Mrs., by the way. Specifically regarding the district's use of SCPD with free school-related services offered by them. Trying to state that he was the big proponent in bringing in services. This is like I said, I just wish he would come to a meeting so we can actually go over what the true facts and who the misleading person really is.
He's also not sending that to the public. He's sending it to us, and we don't have to care about what he says. We just have to do what we have to do.
Brian, absolutely. But like I said, I want this community to know when he says, I'm not anti-police, he 100% is not who he says he is.
Okay. I think it goes back to interpretation, but
Well,
micromanaging.
so it goes back to, you need his endorsement, I don't, and I didn't. So I'm not
It
gonna.
really
not
has,
board business.
there's just no need
There was
to attack
attacks all day on
personally.
email. Don't do it in public.
Micromanaging, Ms.
Brian,
Ferno.
I already told people, foil the emails. I'm the only board member who has ever in the history of Connecticut said that I want my emails unredacted.
We've heard that before. Nobody wants
Jesse,
to read 50,000
who
emails.
else has told
that
you
we
they
have
don't want,
received
who else
for
has
years.
told you,
Again, this
give
is
the
all
community your
personal. Doesn't
unredacted
matter.
emails? I believe in transparency, even if I write something that isn't so nice. I still think that it's appropriate for the community to have transparency. I would love for the whole board to agree to that.
Micromanaging, Ms. Napolitano Ferno.
So while some people don't want the community reading our emails, they do, however, want to be able to oversee every email sent, even if it's not for our eyes. So years ago, I was told that there are certain emails that parents send, and they send them to the Board of Education email. They send it because when they go onto the site, Board of Education at CCSDLI is the first one that comes up. But you could technically be sending very personal and private information about your child or about homelessness or about whatever the case may be. And it's not always meant for us. It could be for the registrar, it could be for guidance, it could be for something else. So in the past, what was done is those emails go to the district clerk, and the district clerk then deciphers which are actually board business and go to the board and super, and which ones are not board business because they go to, if it's somebody for registrar, it goes to this registrar. If it's somebody for the guidance, it goes to guidance. If it's somebody for homelessness, it goes to YFS, PPS, whatever. So if you understand what I'm saying, it's not really appropriate for us. And we had a board member who over a weekend didn't like that I send my emails appropriately, which is to Board of Education at CCSDLI with the superintendent copied and the district clerk, and allow them to, those are the ones that are most professional, they go to that way. And I don't need the board to answer over the weekend because it's just something like this, adding stuff or finding out board business. And unfortunately, the board member was unhappy with that and now is requesting that IT take all emails that are sent to a Board of Education or to CO for us, and wants every email sent to us as if we should be overseeing. Now, some of these emails have very private information in them, and considering that I have never been on a board that has this many leaks in the history of Connecticut or in the history of me being on the board. Years ago, I was like, wow, people leak things, people leak.
Well, you just said anybody could see your email, so what is there to leak?
Well, there's nothing to leak with my emails. I'm talking about in executive. I've never seen so many leaks. April, things go on in executive and like 3 minutes later are on social media.
Jax amazes
And let's
me.
be very clear. If I was the leak, your stuff would be laid bare,
This is
just so you know.
personal. This is
No,
personal,
your stuff
but
would be laid bare.
I'm not gonna get into the
Okay?
tit and tat.
So we
As
all
the
know I
board
didn't leak
emails,
anything, but it would be
way
about you.
Before I was on the board, numerous, I can't even count how many parents complained about board emails not being seen. and that the board said, members said, I didn't see that. Or, oh, I wrote to the board, no one ever answered me, this and that. It's been a point of contention of mine way before your weekend email had nothing to do with this. So I said to Jessie, since it's her job to forward, I don't think it should be anybody's job to forward. We have technology. It can just be forwarded to us with a rule in the email that every board member gets the email forwarded. The board email is called Board of Education. If you're emailing the Board of Education, that means that at some point, no matter who it was for, the registrar, the superintendent, whomever, you sent it to the Board of Education. So that means you wanted the Board of Education to see your email. We have a lot of emails in this district. I mean, I can't imagine. It's probably in the thousands. So if they're picking Board of Education, I do believe the Board of Education should see the email. I do agree the district clerk should still go through and send to whoever department she believes they go to, but not to the board. The board should just receive the emails.
I think, I understand where you're coming from with that. I think the most egregious part of your emails that you had said, you are letting us know you will be having IT added, and that you were just giving us a heads up to let us know that you will have the box. So, I think that's the issue here, is that you decided to just go ahead and do it without having a discussion with the entire board.
Well, I didn't think it needed to be a discussion because it's a Board of Education email.
It's not only one board member. You were saying you were having it added to your account
We have
without even
one at a
discussing
time.
it.
Please, ladies,
with us.
one at a time.
You need to have a consensus with things like this.
Okay, so
You are not a one-woman show, neither am I.
Take a vote, but your email is already there. You already said it.
It's kind of like when you send emails that say things to us like, what was the?
Oh, let's not, I'm not gonna sit here tic
Raise your
tac,
hand
I
and vote
can't
if you're
even.
having fun.
No.
That's
Be very careful.
No, so can you just?
Be very careful. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm never very careful. And I was told, be very careful. Please don't send me those kind of emails because I'm not going to take orders from you and I'm not going to be careful.
Okay, so we are again digressing. We are going to stick to the topic at hand. So board emails.
Yeah, can we have Jessie weigh in? I would like to know what I was saying, how much of it was, if you could weigh in on board emails, please.
I mean, for the most part, minus like spam, and like minus spam and emails that directly aren't for you guys. Like someone will email me, they're, applying for a job and they graduated in 1998 and they need their transcript. I just forward that email to the registrar. I don't send it to you guys. I don't think it's meant for you guys. I think they just think that email was easy to find on the website. For the most part, most other things go directly to you guys. From me, if it's something that does need to be addressed by guidance or principal or something like that, I do send that off separately after I share it with you guys and send them a message that looks almost like an auto response that the email has been received and shared with the board for their review.
That's really the key, April. You can't write emails if you have a problem with people talking about them. They're not, it's open government, open meetings law. You can read my emails if you like out loud.
Jax, were you listening to Jessie when you asked the question? Good.
And I would also like to say to Jessie this. I trust you. I've trusted you for 5 years and I will continue to trust you. You do a great job. You send us all the emails and no other board member has ever questioned your ability to send emails to us. How dare a brand new board member be ordering, and it was clear you ordered IT.
Oh my God.
IT, you said, I sent a message to IT. Just so you know, as a board member, there's only 2 people that we should be sending emails to, and that is Dr. Centimore,
Actually,
the board,
we can
or
send
the
an
district
email.
clerk.
Jackie, we
on
had
our
50 emails today. You're contradicting yourself. Please.
Wait, who should we be sending emails to? Should we be sending emails to IT, telling them to change our email?
I'm not saying that.
So Jesse, where do we need to go from here, just so we can end this?
So I'm not
Okay,
saying.
so if I can
Brian,
just-
write as many emails as you want, but don't be afraid for people to A, foil them, B, be read in public. April is saying something to
things that I
Doug
read
on
are
the
for, like,
sidebar.
13-year-olds.
April is trying to say, why
I
did
could have
we
been
bring
talking
up?
about this chocolate.
Why
Do
did
you really
we
like
bring
it?
up?
You don't know what
No,
I'm
she's
saying.
asking us, why are we reading? And she's trying to say that we did a violation and that maybe there should be an investigation to
Okay,
our violation
so-
in public.
So
Open
we
meetings law.
are going to give our opinions, and while, Jesse, I don't believe that it is micromanaging, and I believe you do an amazing job, I think that April has a good point, and if the emails are sent directly to us, and then you could still review and send wherever they need to go, I would be for that. Brian?
I'm for it.
I'm against it.
I'm not.
I'm for it. I get so many emails anyway. I'm not going to respond. We're not supposed to respond to anyone, so I'm not going to.
So 3-2.
Oh,
And Jackie,
I'm sorry, the majority
it's not that I don't
spoke.
trust you, but
Okay.
All you did was just prove that you need to micromanage
The
more.
Neckwatt Holiday Spirit, Miss DiLorenzo.
Okay, I'm gonna turn this around.
I can't wait to turn this around in May. And we're gonna turn this around, trust me.
So I want to talk about our Connect One Holiday Spirit because I just think we do such an amazing job from what we do with the schools, all the individual events for the elementary kids. The Winter Wonderland was amazing. We drove through there. And I have to give a special shout out to somebody who was sitting up here who did not mention something else he did. We have our very own Santa Claus up here. So thank you to Dr. Centimore for being an amazing Santa for the Bohemia Civic Association. We had an event and we did a little story time. And somebody else up here was Mrs. Claus. And it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. We read to the kids, and then there was a magic show. But I have to tell you, you are an amazing Santa. Thank you so much. Your love for the children and doing things for them, it shines through. It comes through, and it was incredible to watch because it's really genuine. And I can't thank you enough. My kids loved it. My nephews were there. They loved it. And thank you so much for doing that for our community.
Thank you very much. As Mrs. Claus, you were a very tough act to follow, but it was very convenient considering all the servings that I've had since Thanksgiving, to be able to fit into the suit. So I do appreciate the opportunity from the Bohemia Civics and the Historical Society, and it was great working with you and reading the stories to the children.
You guys both did an incredible job. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I was so happy when people sent me video. You guys did an amazing job, and I did advocate to see if you guys would go around our district and visit our elementary schools as Santa and Mrs. Claus. I think I'm gonna need another year to push you guys a little bit, but I just think it would be so nice. I know that not everybody celebrates Christmas, but I'm about saying Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Eid, Happy. I don't know how to say it. Diwali. I just want to say it wrong. Diwali. Happy Hanukkah. It doesn't have to be. It could just be something fun. Send Frosty around. Either way, you could dress as Frosty. I just think it's so nice to see a board member and a superintendent who really go out of their way. They already do so much on their own time, but now they're doing this too. So really, can we give them a round?
Thank you, Jackie.
New math program, Ms. Napolitano Furno.
There was some contention about the new math program. There was a lot of parents are upset about what's going on with the new program. I know it's only 4 months old, so I understand that we have to work some kinks out. I get that. I'm trying to find out what exactly are we doing to try to work those kinks out. What are we doing to help students? I was told by a bunch of people, and actually not you, I should have asked you, about how many kids are in the library. We're seeing more and more kids in the library getting tutored for math. So, and I'm hearing it's starting in middle school. They're saying that from middle school to high school, kids who are accelerated, kids who are normally do not have an issue with math are having major problems with math. I would really like us to get for next meeting or the following meeting, an update on what are we doing to try to bridge this gap. I mean, as it is, we're already bringing in a new program that some parents are not liking. Some students are having some hard times with it. And so that's one piece of the puzzle. And then the other piece is now we have 3 times the amount of students at the library getting tutored, and their parents are paying. So we have to remember that there are district funds that come in, and that I would advocate when we go to budget season, and I don't know if I'll have support for this or not, but I will advocate for it, that maybe we should cut some of our math classes to smaller class sizes. I fought for that in the elementary school, but maybe we can do that in the secondary, even if we just do it for a year or two, and bring in another section at OBMS, another section at RMS, another section or a few sections at the high school, whatever it takes. I would honestly think that this year one of our wish list pieces should be to try to get more children away from the tutoring. Tutoring is fine to reinforce, but if the tutoring is to help them actually learn the basics that they should have learned in class and maybe they're getting lost, if there's 25 kids in class or 28 kids, we're asking one teacher, again, to help that many students. It might be too many in a class for right now in order to combat that. That's just an idea I have, because I'm always for small class sizes. Is it something that we could fiscally do? Could we afford it? I would love to know. I think we need to think of something, think outside the box. If you're going to bring a new program in, what are we going to do to help that program next year? And what are we going to do this year to help these kids be successful in that program? Because they're not being successful right now. And I know people say to me, oh, we're going to show you the SAT scores. We're going to show you this. We're going to show you that. What I want to see is less kids that need the extra help. And I want to see them understanding it. Because kids who don't understand things create more anxiety, which creates more mental health issues.
Thank you, and I'll quickly start the conversation, and then I'll pass the baton to my esteemed colleague to my right, Ms. Poppy. So we did have a conversation over the summer, but I know a good amount of the community might have been enjoying the summer and not quite engaged in those conversations. So a couple of quick points. The Envision Math is a new program to the district, but it was vetted last year. There was a pilot that was done. And it is a new program, and it is in the 4th month, as you said. And anytime you implement something new, you have to give it time to set foot. The teachers are actively receiving their professional development. They're getting more comfortable with it as the weeks go on. In terms of the students and student support, extra help, tutoring, we did open up with the help of the high school administration. We opened up the high school library. That was feedback that I got when I first came to Connecticut, that we really needed a high school library open after school, and the big reason was for tutoring across the curriculum, but certainly for math. So certainly that we've had a greater utilization of that high school library, which is a gorgeous library. The parent voice is being heard, and it's not just through social media. I know we have a very robust social media in Connecticut, but we have an active curriculum council, and there are parent representatives on this council. And the first meeting was almost exclusively kind of focused on math tutoring, and the parent voice. And so from there, I'm going to take this baton, Ms. Poppy, pass it down.
Thanks, Dr. C. So we are going to continue that conversation with the curriculum committee, to your point, in January. And of course, I think as I mentioned last time I spoke about that committee, anyone is welcome to join. All you need to do is essentially reach out to me and I will let you know when our next meeting will be held. I'll be sending an email shortly to committee members to establish our next date. I want to thank you for your approval, essentially, Board of Education, for our professional developer with the new math program. I think that as we learn the program and as we, as a district, grow into it, K through 5, having that level of support available to our teachers is invaluable. And it's been for us, as we're learning the ropes, a true game changer. The program itself does represent change in several different ways in terms of the way that students learn mathematics. And that's different from the way that I learn mathematics and different from the way that you learn mathematics. This approach is aligned with our next generation set of standards, so it's appropriate. And there is a great deal of resources available to teachers. And it's going to take some time for our teachers, our faculty, to be familiar with and comfortable with the level of resources that are available to them. To Dr. C's point, there is some discussion on social media that I would love to kind of redirect into more of a solutions-oriented conversation. So first of all, homework that's going home is not meant to cause anxiety. And I'd like to publicly encourage our families that if their children are struggling on homework problems, to have communication with their classroom teachers to indicate that. It shouldn't be a source of frustration or anxiety at home. And we've sort of reiterated that with teachers, and we're going to continue to reiterate that message. If there are specific solutions for which you're seeking feedback or specific issues for which you're seeking feedback relative to your child's experience, I encourage you to speak with your classroom teacher or your building principal or contact Mrs. Berger directly. And we'll go ahead and sort of learn through this process together. Your feedback is truly invaluable, but I would very much appreciate it if we remained solutions focused in terms of finding the right mix of resources and the right approach for our students through the areas where they're experiencing difficulty. In addition, I'd also like to mention that we will be hosting an elementary literacy and mathematics evening in January. Last day of January, the 31st. It'll be held at John Pearl Elementary School between 6 and 7:30 p.m. Mrs. Berger will be on hand to kind of speak to some of these pieces. If you're curious for more information, if you would like to have that face-to-face experience with her, she'll be speaking about Envision Math and about the approach and the resources and our students' experience thus far. So I encourage you to, if you're available that evening, to go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity. That'll be paired nicely with a similar type of workshop forum with our work in literacy. And beyond that, during our next Board of Education meeting, January 9th, we'll be having some curricular presentations from ELA, from mathematics, science, social studies, PE and health, and our other major subject areas so that you're able to really see and sense how curriculum plays out in Connecticut beyond, a program and beyond these types of conversations. I think everybody's going to be privy to just a beautiful view of, how we educate our students here.
Thank you. Opt in, opt out, Ms. DiLorenzo.
I wanted to bring this up because I'm not on the policy committee, but what I would like to do is advocate for some sort of policy with guidelines as to when we do opt in, opt out. I think it is very important, for instance, for this P&A survey, that we had an opt-in option for parents so that they could see it's with sensitive material, things like that. I mean, opt out, you want to ask the kids what they prefer to drink at lunch. You don't need, to manage that so much in that way. But I do think it's important, and I don't know if we have anything on surveys, but I think we should have some sort of a policy on our surveys, how our surveys are conducted. We do multiple surveys, and when we do want to have the option of opting in for the survey or making it an opt-out option for parents. I'm just advocating for that to our policy committee because I don't know that we have anything, but I do think that's important.
I think that if we were to have an opt-in, it would have to be universal, because I think that part of the confusion with the survey was that there is not normally an opt-in in the district, right? So you either opt out or you're in. So I think that if we are going to have an opt-in, it would have to be universal for whatever it is that you need to opt out for.
And I can understand that, but some things you don't necessarily, like I said, you could have a survey where you don't necessarily need. I mean, a lot of people are very used to with the assessments that it's always opt out. But I do think even that, maybe we should look into having it as an opt-in. A lot of parents are not they don't check their emails, whatever it might be. It does bring in parent accountability, makes them more involved, and I think it's very important, especially considering some of the more serious surveys, such as the PNA survey, that are very sensitive topics that are discussed. So I just think it's something that maybe can be addressed during the policy committee to look at those different options.
Right, I don't disagree, I just think it should be universal. Fame, Ms. Napolitano.
So I wanted to find out where we're at. I had a parent reach out to me, and I did tell that parent to reach out to the board, and so they sent an email to the board in regards to a dance program, bringing in a competitive dance program. And I had said that for the past few years, I think it was it 2 years ago, Mrs. Poppy, it was 2 years ago, right? So 2 years ago, we went to Hop Hog. We saw an amazing fame program that they have there. We brought in the broadcasting piece of it the following year. But I was one of the people, and so was Mrs. Kennedy back then, who we really pushed for bringing in fame. We loved it, the dance portion of it. It's a dance class, and it just for kids who are good with art and in the arts, and that's their niche. It would be nice to have that here too. It was a beautiful program. The kids look like they absolutely loved it over there. So it was something that we put on the wish list. Last year, I recall seeing it at budget time, and I wanted to know where we're at with it and what piece of it are we bringing in. Because then when this parent reached out, and other board members said, oh, Dr. Centimore spoken about that. I said, yeah, but I think we're talking about two different things.
So Dr. Centimore has spoken about that, and Dr. C, I don't want to steal your thunder by sharing a little bit about a course elective that's going to be available to our high school level students. Would you like to share a little bit about it?
Sure. And in terms of the dance piece, and this is part of the budget development process, we are looking to bring dance education into Connecticut High School. This was a conversation that I had with high school administration and curriculum when I first got here, and with our arts and music department. Everybody's on board. And so, we have the budget for the position. It may not be a full-time position to start. The high school did a survey for student interest recently in terms of dance ed, and there is a pretty good response. And so we're looking to do kind of a 1-2 punch where you have the dance for, maybe the traditional dancers, and then you kind of have that universal dance that could capture anybody. And so that's, in terms of, the fame covers a lot of pieces. This is just a dance component.
Well, that's what I was wondering. When we looked at the budget last year, fame was on the list of things you guys were bringing in.
So maybe that was an umbrella reference to our fine arts and music education department, perhaps. This idea really came to fruition this fall.
Well, because I know that me and Linda and Lee that's why I'm asking you. The fame, is it the same thing? That's why because the three of us had said, we want this here. When you were with us, we were like, we want this here. It was a dance class with the bar in the class.
And that's what we're bringing in.
Yes,
So
that's what I'm saying.
at two levels, to Dr. Centimore's point.
So
Right.
it is fame, it's just, we're calling it something different.
So it's within that department. So sometimes we call our fine arts department fame, fine arts and music education. Sometimes they're lumped together. But this dance program will be housed within that department, underneath that umbrella. And we are offering two levels of dance for beginners, so to speak, and dance for people who have a dance background. And we'll see how the electives fill, so long as it survives the budgetary process here. But we're really excited about the prospect of introducing something new in this regard.
Can we also try to look back and see if we can do anything with sign language? I know that was something that I felt very bad when two students came up to me last year and said that they put in for the class, and the class didn't fill. I think only 4 or 5 kids put in for it. And so it wasn't going to run because it was hard to get a teacher. And I said, I felt sorry because I said, I know that we have classes with 5 kids. Not that I agree with that all the time, but I think it's nice to build this up and let's get sign language going too for our students.
So we will continue to offer sign language, and as you know, as students enroll in courses, sometimes that initially makes the determination of whether or not that course will run within the high school's master schedule. But it will remain as an option for students to select, and we'll see how it fills this year. We haven't taken it off the table per se.
It is, to your point, one of the hardest positions to find a candidate for. So I do know districts that have had the student numbers and they were not able to find a signed certified teacher.
So we should be telling every kid that's going to college to be a teacher, learn sign language. We'll bring you in as a sign language teacher, and then you can get into the door for something else.
So I just want to add to the FAME program, I think it's great that we're bringing the dance classes to Connecticut. We did get an email today from a parent community member requesting that we look into a competitive dance team that is separate and different from this. Maybe if we could look into that, we have competitive cheer. So if we could look into maybe perhaps bringing in competitive dance and seeing how that would take off.
That's the parent that reached out to me, and I said to email the whole board.
Right.
Okay, perfect. We will look into that for sure.
Thank you. Okay. I will now open the floor for the first.
I actually had one more thing I wanted to just bring up.
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry. What I wanted to just bring up, one last thing, is I wanted to talk about my expectations being here as a trustee. And I'm an alumni. I love this community, came back, and over the years, we have seen so many alumni so successful, going back to Jane Monheit, Mike Carbonaro, oh my gosh, Maura Kelly. I don't know if anybody remembers her. I'm dating myself here, but really some incredibly successful people. Most recently, one of our alumni was elected to a Supreme Court Justice for New York. I mean, it's an incredible achievement. It's amazing. So Connecticut, and really, we have such potential to produce incredible success here. And I do expect that we will do that, but I do have expectations that we're not going to just make children succeed, but excel. Really, really to excel rather than just simply passing to get by. I expect that we're going to have that so that our students can really, really reach for the stars. Their dreams can become reality. And I think it's very important that our students are encouraged to always do the best. And our teachers, our staff, whoever it is that there is encouraging them to do that, to excel. I also expect to see accountability in every single area that we have, because if we want our students to be accountable and responsible adults, it starts when they graduate. It starts with the current adults now, the people that are teaching them. It starts right at the top with them. I do also expect, and I advocated for this many years ago, safety and security. That's huge. Students, staff have to always remain safe, and I expect that will be a priority in every single building. I expect to see that. And of course, academics. When I started, I said I want to see academics at the forefront all the time to make sure our students are always learning. Math is math, science is science. That is what I expect to see. And I just think that these are the things that are most important to me, and I wanted to put that out there, that I will continue to advocate for these things throughout my tenure as trustee. It's what I got on here for, and I wanted to make it clear that I will continue to advocate for these things. These are very important. We have to set the bar high, and I expect it to be set high, and for our students to be able to be extremely successful and excel in whatever it is they choose to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anybody else? I will now open the floor to the first public comment portion of the agenda. This public comment portion is for the consent agenda items only. An additional public comment period will be held later in the evening. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping up to the podium. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to consent agenda items only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes. If there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. Number one. And can I just ask that you tell me which consent agenda item number you're referring to when you do speak? 18? Thank you.
Hi, so questions about the field trip to New York City.
Okay.
First of all, just as a point of information, I saw that show a week and a half ago. Runtime, 2 hours, 45 minutes, solid 2 hours, 45 minutes. The bus is not leaving at 3:45. But also, I wanted to ask, after the Farmingdale Band accident, there were questions about charter buses, coach buses, and I noticed that in there is a contract for a charter bus. And it lists that at 10 o'clock there's an inspection. Is that inspection going to cover what we as a community would want to see, or will there be like a separate inspection? Like, does that 10 to 10:30 give our district enough time to look over that bus and feel confident that all the safety measures are taken and all that?
Great question. Mr. Hauser?
Sure. So this is our normal protocol with charter school buses has always been. Of course, there's going to be, I'll say, a heightened sense of attention to more details from our own mechanical staff in the transportation department. Typically, we take about 45 minutes to inspect the bus. We don't bring the bus to our yard to bring it in a garage and lift it up, but we do a pretty thorough underbody of the school bus, inspecting the tires, the brakes, especially for anything that they might see as glaring, defects or noticeable items. So I know you said about a half hour. I would say.
Yeah,
probably
in the
about 45
contract,
minutes.
it lists from 10 o'clock inspection to 10:30 departure from the high school.
Yep. So, so what is your exact question?
I'm just wondering so now you're saying that it's about 45 minutes. So if the contract states that it's a half hour.
That bus will not leave out of our mechanics inspection until they are thoroughly done with the inspection and convinced that it is safe to operate that bus.
I'd like to just add that happened actually last year with, my son went on a trip at the end of the year. And I think it was a blinker or something. And they were there for, how long did you say? It was a long time that they left. So even though there is that time period, if there's an issue, and this was which is a blinker is important, but we're not talking wheel, and they stayed there, they made sure that it was good to go. They didn't let that bus go without that.
Does anybody else have anything on the consent agenda? Okay. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve the suspension of a portion of policy 9260?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
This policy, we are suspending the fingerprint portion, the payment of the fingerprint portion for the food service workers.
What we're doing is the policy provides for a 45-day payback period for certain hourly employees.
For anyone making under $20 an hour.
Thank you, Jesse. And what this does is it allows us to try to reimburse them sooner, rather than waiting 45 days.
Are there any questions from the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Can I call for a motion and a second to approve the financial matters, items 2 through 7?
Motion.
Second.
Does anybody have any questions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Wait a second, hold on, not to ask the question, but wasn't the overtime, April, was that what you were questioning, number 3?
Yeah, I just wanted a total on it and,
But your questions were in regards to security and who else?
To everyone, I
In the email, it
questioned-
said security and
Because
who
I
else?
had met with Bob and I asked why they had overtime. I still don't have full answers yet. I believe Dr. C and Bob are looking into them.
What are the units?
There was 3 dates on the, I forget what the date was of the board meeting, that I questioned why we had so much overtime at elementary schools.
Okay, well, I'm just
So
asking
when
what
they
units?
have answers.
What units was it?
Units?
What unit?
Jackie, do you have a question on the item?
Yes, I'm
What's your
asking,
question?
what's the unit? What were the units of the questions?
I asked about the chaperones, I asked about the buses, I asked about security.
Marisol,
Anybody
we
that
got
has
an
more
answer
time.
from Mr. Hauser with no questions and no transparency, not his fault, her fault for sending it. It's open meetings law violation. You are sending questions and answers, but don't want to give
When
that
I have
answers and
something
questions
to
the
discuss,
community.
I will definitely
Why
discuss
would you
it.
not?
I don't
Well,
have
you are.
the
You were
answers yet.
questioning the units.
Okay,
You were
so-
questioning overtime. Why wouldn't you question that?
The motion carried. We are now going to vote on.
Mr. Hauser, can you please forward those questions because
There were, April said she met with him personally, so the questions weren't written. She said that in the email, she met with
Okay,
him
well,
personally.
does she, so we just don't give transparency to anyone?
No, I'm just saying there, he
Okay,
can't
now
forward
we
you the
just-
questions if they
Let's just
don't
rubber stamp
exist.
it. It's fine, move on.
Now personnel. I believe we are separating the personnel.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna vote on non-instructional first. Can I get a motion in a
Well, I'm
second?
pulling number 5.
Yes, but we're going to approve them separately. So can I get a motion in a second to approve the non-instructional personnel item as presented?
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion carries. Can I get a motion and a second to approve the instructional personnel matter 1 through 4 and 6 through 48?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I will roll call for number 5 of the instructional. Can I get a motion and a second to approve item number 5 of the instructional personnel item?
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Iantelli?
Yes.
Ms. DiLorenzo?
Yes.
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno?
I would just like to hold the superintendent accountable and let him know that I will be voting yes under the watchful eyes of him, making sure that things that have happened in the past don't continue to happen.
I am a yes. Mr. Murphy?
And I believe that's the superintendent's job to do so, and I believe he will. And I'm glad you're.
Well, I believe you.
But are you a yes or a no?
I'm a yes.
What was your job, Brian, to get on the board? I remember
Motion
them telling us.
carries.
What was the reason you got on the board? Wasn't this the reason?
No,
Congratulations.
You can respond.
Thank you.
Dr. Centimore, you have?
Yes, in my capacity as superintendent of the schools, I accept accountability for all staff and all that happens in the Connecticut universe.
I just thank you for explaining tenure to me and how some people believe that under tenure, there's such protections that anything goes, and that's not necessarily true, and I think people need to really understand that.
Tenure is about due process, but everyone is held accountable, whether you are on your first day of the job or you're in your 50th year of service, and if you're here that long, we do appreciate it. But we are all held to a high standard. We talked about standards earlier, and it starts at the top with me. I embrace that, and hopefully I set the tone.
Yeah, I actually wish that the board last year, they entrusted the superintendent like they do you. I trust you, but it's really sad because last year, Miss Mallon had told me straight up that, Jackie, I don't like that we don't have transparency. I don't like that we don't have communication. But then this year, you don't, there's no
Isn't it
communication.
amazing
and
how
there's no
things
transparency.
change?
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah,
the lack
it's
of leadership we had
amazing.
last year?
Oh, no, there's definitely a lack of leadership this year, Brian.
Where?
You barely.
Okay, so we're
Brian,
moving
what
on
did you just say?
the consent-
You just said to Marisol, nobody's saying yes. Why do I, so what, you have to turn your
You
little
both
button on?
are playing games every time.
Brian, you
both
have to
don't-
turn on your button and say, something, not just be a zero.
No, because-
Not just be an empty suit.
I speak in executive.
Not just be,
I
I
don't-
know,
Okay,
code of conduct.
okay, we are moving on. Jacqueline, you had an item you wanted to remove from the consent agenda also?
Yeah, the 913, please.
Okay. Can I
And I
call for?
have a speech for that one too.
Great. Can I have a motion and a second to approve items 2 through 5 and 7 through 23?
Motion.
Come on, Brian, you second.
Second.
Any
So after we
questions?
hear your voice-
Are there any questions from the board? No. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Can I get a motion and a second to approve item number 6 from the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? Ms. Iannatelli, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. DiLorenzo?
Yes.
Ms. Napolitano-Ferno?
I need to say a few things. So here we are with a 913. For those who don't know what a 913 is, it's when you have to have a medical or psychological done. Is that that's way to? It's oversimplified. So here's the thing. While I believe in making sure that our district is safe, first and foremost, not just for my own children, like some board members, but for all students, for all.
We're not talking about anybody's children. Please.
First of all, Marisol, I guess this is about someone's child. If you guys are giving it up, so I would be quiet if I were you
I'm telling
two.
you not to talk
So
about anybody's
I don't take
child.
orders from you, thank you. I don't take orders from you. I don't talk about people's children in public on this thing. Thank you very
You've
much.
spoken about my
All
child
right.
4 times.
Brian, you want to go there, Brian, and really speak about what you held under the rug? Do you
Yes,
really
tell
want to
me.
talk about
Yes,
it?
please.
Oh,
We are
God.
not. We are not.
So let's move on. Code of conduct, Brian. Come on, April. Code of conduct. So
Never
let's
said those words. You
let's
screamed them earlier.
let's be very clear on something. A 913 for a teacher or staff member is something that we should not just make like it's no big deal. So my feelings are I can't vote on this. The reason I can't vote on this at the moment is because I personally am disgusted at the lack of transparency and the lack of communication that the board president and I told the super this, he understood, I am not for us hiding things because of who is involved, okay? If it's my child, well, I've been on Channel 12 News. I've been on the front page of Newsday. My kids have been on there. I don't agree with it. But what I will say is, when I look into something, it's not just for my child. I would never say, I want my child taken out of somewhere or something and then leave everybody else and say that things are okay or not okay. If you want to do a 913, I would be for it. I would be for it because if you're okay, medically or psychologically, it's going to be found out and boom, whatever the case may be. But I cannot vote yes to a 913 that has shady business being done behind the scenes and shady behavior. The shady behavior. No, what I said was, and I'll say it again,
asked for the
Dr.
913.
Centimore, what did I say on the phone? Dr. Centimore, I called you up and said, what are you doing behind the scenes? What are we doing here, April? What are we doing here? It's about all kids, not just our kids.
913.
It's about all kids, not just our kids. Our kids are important, but everyone's kids are important. Remember that. We're not here just for our kids. We're here for all kids. If something affects your own child in the classroom or my own child in the classroom, it affects the other children in that classroom. You make sure everybody's okay. So again, I will abstain from this vote, not because I don't agree with the 913, but I don't agree with the shady business around it, because this 913 should have come to us sooner, because a board member should have facilitated it to, not tried to put something under a rug and hold that rug down. And you don't like me calling you out, but hey, I tell the truth. People don't have to like it, but it's the truth. And I'm not going to vote yes to something that I don't even know what the truth is, really, because, well, we have a board member who's trying to circumvent the wheel.
So you're abstaining. I'm a yes. Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. I will now open the floor for the open public comment portion of the agenda. I will call individuals forward one at a time. Please wait for my acknowledgement before stepping to the podium. You should have received a number card from security on your way in. If you have not, please see a security guard in the back of the room. Any person wishing to address the board shall address the board president only. Comments should be kept as brief as possible and relate to school matters only. Each person will be limited to 3 minutes for one or more topics. Individual employees, parents, or children should not be identified by name, title, position, grade, or building. The use of foul language and threatening comments will not be tolerated, and the board will consider a recess until order is restored. In accordance with policy 1230, public comment will not exceed 30 minutes, and if there are additional persons wishing to speak, the board may consider a motion to extend the time. Number 1. You just have to press the button.
Okay. Before we get to the meat and potatoes, in my impression, let's just first share with the board. I would like the board to review bus video from October 3rd, October 6th. I would like the board to then address it, please, to the community. This is the bus that goes for OBMS through the Regency development. It has come to my attention in central office meeting. Clearly, there was an issue, so severe that they contacted the nurse and said if there's any respiratory issues due to malfunction of busing, let us know. This was straight from our administration. That being said, we didn't find it necessary, though, to contact parents to have a list of what those children may be suffering from. I could go on and on. The nurse was contacted by me personally. The nurse refused to answer. There is no transparency. There is such a lack of transparency, and that rug being held down, for sure. To sit in a central office meeting and actually be looked at and said, you did know. We told you. No. Open government clearly says parents view the video. If you have to change something in the video because of privacy that we hide behind, there is no FOIL in this district. If that is the case, you contact the parent. You don't just say, yeah, we saw your child, we'll have the person in, we'll have the union member in, we'll take care of it. That's not a transaction of information so I can educate my child and so can other parents. This is a problem. I don't want to hear that I'll be getting back to you at the end of this comment. I want to hear it in public. Tell the people what the board sees. And I encourage for you to kindly, if you see an issue, if you see an issue on the 3rd and the 6th, I encourage you to continue your investigation. That being said, on another note, my comments about children being, the board knows the retaliation is real. I'm here to tell you it's real. And I'm ready. Bring it. I'm ready. You've had regular parents come up here, 504 IEP. It's not people who forget. These are people who are educators that are trying to get grades in by a certain time, to run the school because they have administration that's untenured. I can go on and on about the experiences of these children, but I don't know if everyone feels what we feel as parents. I am not going anywhere. I am here. We talk about FOIL. There is no FOIL. Enough with this hiding behind privacy. Do I know who's in my child's classes? Yes. Do I know who his educator is? Yes. Enough. Open government says we have rights. This district just really wants us to fight our fight outside of the district. Very sad. I encourage parents of the community to continue getting in touch with Jill from SEPTA President, and we continue our mission. Enough is enough. Please have the board tell me how they're going to show quality control when it comes to 504s. When was the last time a teacher had a 931?
I just need you to wrap it up. I'm sorry.
No problem. When was the last time a teacher had a 3028? Children are failing their classes because they're not getting their accommodations. Sad. I see board members talking when I'm up here behind folders.
members, or going like this when a board member gives me a chance to speak. You know who you are. I know who you are. The retaliation is real. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going anywhere once again.
Thank you. And actually, I don't know the episode that you're speaking about from the bus. This is the first I'm hearing of it, but I would like an update from Dr. Senmore and Dr. Hauser on that incident.
And can you please, the next board meeting, tell the community what your findings are, along with how we're going to have quality control and assurance of we're going to hold educators accountable to laws?
Absolutely.
Because our children are directly related. Our children's rights are being violated. Don't sit up here. Those children that got awards, God bless them. What about the rest? What about the ones that are so depressed they can't participate in these extracurricular activities? It's time to wake up. Not everybody, but there's a lot of evil. Evil is the word I'm going to use, not even cruelty anymore. I've had enough. I'm telling you, I'm not going nowhere. The numbers, our district is up 170 plus.
I'm sorry, but yes, I have to move on to the next speaker. Thank you.
Not at all. I'm going to answer her on something. I would like you to know that if anyone, and I do mean anyone, retaliates against you,
Oh, it has happened.
please reach out to me. I will meet you privately and speak to you, and then I will go
Police
to
have
the
been
to doc-
involved, and I will.
I will go to Dr. Sentimore myself. That is not
My
okay.
family.
That is not okay. If tonight, because you spoke in public, there is any issue, please reach out. We've seen retaliation and it's inappropriate. We've seen it on social media, we've seen it, but I've never had someone actually reach out to me. I tell anyone, reach out to me and I'll see what I can do.
Sadly, the only email is on the Board of Education. We don't have, from what I last saw, we don't have individual emails for the Board of Education.
I am J. Napolitano Ferno at ccsdli.org. And if you can't get me there, JNAPFURNO@gmail.com. I will take any of those. And if you're on social media, I'm on there. You can private message me. Unfortunately, I have had to block some members of the community because I have children on there that see some of the vicious attacks. But as long as people are professional and kind, I have no issue
Well,
with keeping them on my
Jackie, I
partner.
appreciate you. I'm glad
All
to
of
see
our-
this time the board member didn't go like this when you gave me the opportunity.
All of our emails are just like the all of our hold on. All of our emails are just like the teachers. It's our first initial last name at ccsdli.org.
Well, I sent many last year. You talk about the process with Jesse. I could prove it to you. Call me. My emails went unresponsive.
Was it a educator that retaliated or a
Why
board
would I
member?
say that in public?
No, we are not.
Why
We
would
are
I
not.
say that
We are
in
not
public?
saying that.
Because I
No.
just was curious
Why
who
would I say that in
retaliated.
public? Have a good evening.
Number two. Number two. Three. Number three.
Good evening. Obviously, math hasn't changed, not since I took it, but the children are having problems. I don't know if it's the way it's presented or the way they organize it. It's certainly different than the way I took math. When I took math, it was algebra, and then geometry, and then trigonometry, and then advanced algebra, and then you took calculus 1, calculus 2. But they have it a little different order. But it's still math. What is the problem that our children are having such difficulty that so many people are going to tutors?
It's a great question. The way math is done today is different from how most of the adults did it. And so one of the frustrations that we're dealing with as educators is the fact that this is the one subject area that parents are having a hard time, helping their kids, because you still get to the same answer, but the approach is different. And so that's how all districts kind of align to the state standards with this. So this is a component of the frustration, is that how I did math growing up, you did math growing up. We may get to the same answer, but the process is very different. Ms. Poppy, if you want to speak with more mathematical clarity on that.
I would concur with what you shared. It's really about the approach that we use in our classroom. I agree with you, math is math, and it's the way in which we teach students they can arrive at an answer, right? So there are different strategies that they can use. And this particular program and our state standards require that students have exposure to a lot of different types of approaches. And that may be a method that's different from what I experienced in school, from what you experienced from school. And so it's going to take some time, I think, for all of us to kind of be more confident in terms of, what works best for students, how the resource that we have best suits students' needs. And we're working through that right now. But the feedback is the most important piece along the way.
I have to rely upon that whatever method you're using now is better, but it seems that it's not. Years ago, and this goes back a while, I had 3 children that went through this system. My daughter came home, she didn't understand what the teacher told her. She stayed after school, asked the teacher, she still didn't understand it. She came home crying. I said, let's sit down to dinner and let me look at the problem. I said, show me what you have to do. She said, these 10 problems. I said, okay, fine. I'm going to do one for you. And I said, then you do the second problem. So I did the first problem for her. The book that they was using at that time had answers in the back. So she did the second problem, and she said, I got the same answer as the book. I said, fine. Now do the other 8 problems. Thank God she had one of the teachers that collected homework. The teacher collected homework and looked at her steps, and she said, who taught you how to do this? And this was frightening. She said, my father. She said, it's correct, but when you get this problem on the Regents, use every step. But don't show any of the children in the class how you solve these problems. So what can I say? I don't have an answer. I hope your method is better. I know now they put a lot of numbers in boxes. Okay? I don't know what that gets you. Years ago, the grocery man did it on a paper bag with a pencil and didn't have any boxes, and it worked. Okay, I don't know the answers either. Have a good night, and happy holiday to all.
Thank you, Ed. Happy holidays. Thank you. Number 4.
I'm just going to be up here as a taxpayer. And I don't think anybody should be sitting here thinking about piercing the cap. I think the last thing we need is to pierce a cap. Everything else has gone haywire. The cost of your gasoline is up twice. The cost of your groceries is up 25%. The cost of your home heating oil is up twice. So everybody else in the school district has their own cap. I have my own cap. I'm going to make this much money. I've got to spend just this much money. So I think all of us have to be the same way. We've got to have our pencils sharp. We've got to realize, what can we do? What are the trade-offs? What do we do to make sure that everyone in the school district can stay in the school district? And so that's the words of wisdom for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think we all agree with that. There's no number 5, right? We're done? Okay. Can I call for a motion and a second to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Happy holidays and Happy New Year.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year.